And we are live. Welcome to episode 14 of the Retroslot podcast. It's been a long time. We had to take basically a month off because we do the show every 2 weeks. So if we take an episode off, it ends up being a whole month.
Right.
And everything fell to ashes while we were gone.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many things going on.
You were saying before the show started that the prices of everything have gone up like tenfold.
Yeah, it's crazy. Certain stuff.
What's going on? What do you think's going on? Like, why? I mean, already it felt like the prices were inflated because of the pandemic. Everybody's staying home. You know, everybody's trying to get into new hobbies or reigniting old hobbies. But all of a sudden, they've jumped up again.
Yeah, stuff like Pokemon and especially sealed games too. Just literally, Pokemon games have doubled almost within a month. Again, sealed games are 5 to 10 or more higher than they were a couple of months ago. And the only thing that I can think of is like people are getting their pandemic or their stimulus checks and be like, what do I do with this $1,400?
Getting those stimmy checks,
adult,
burning a hole in their pockets.
Put it in savings or, something responsible. No, I'm going to go buy Pokemon for $500 for Heart Gold complete a box. Why not? It's the government's money. Could possibly go wrong.
It was your money before the government took it.
Free money. Completely and absolutely free. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's nice. So I have this the game of the week this week is Super Mario RPG. And I've known this for a month. I've known this for a month. So I ordered a copy, or I bought a copy off of eBay. And it actually got lost in the mail. Like, I don't believe that I got scammed or anything, but it was like, it had been like a week and a half. And, sometimes stuff comes slow from eBay because everybody chooses kind of like the standard postal service shipping. And, the postal service is kind of slow right now. And I've had some issues over the past few months. Like I had an arcade stick that got delivered and it took like 3 weeks to get here from Texas. I had a pair of side cutters, like like a tool that never showed up. The only thing that showed up was the actual shipping label, like taped to a piece of cardboard. It looked like what happened was the box that the side cutters were in had been damaged. So they cut the shipping label like a rectangle off of the box and then delivered that. But there was no box.
Nothing was wrong. Like nothing was wrong. He's not going to notice. He couldn't possibly notice.
So that was weird, but it was like, it was like a $4 set of cutters. Okay, so it's like, I'm not going to go crazy about this. I think I ran over to Home Depot and just bought some. But yeah, so I wasn't like too concerned about it, but then they just kept not showing up, or the game kept not showing up. So I actually contacted the seller, and, the seller was actually pretty cool about it. And they started going after the UPS or USPS, and they refunded my money. I didn't have to go to eBay or anything. But that left me in a situation where I had to get another copy of Super Mario RPG, and the price went up. Like it was like 2 weeks, and like I couldn't find another copy. So I finally ordered another copy, which hasn't gotten here yet. So I've been playing the game on the Mister, playing a ROM on the Mister. But I like to order the games. I like to get the games that we cover on the show. To have in the collection and to actually play like an actual copy of the game. But it's like in 2 weeks, the price of the game had doubled. Why do you have 2 copies?
We can talk about that later.
Okay.
Unless you want to get into it right now.
Yeah, I'm curious. Why do you have 2 copies? Jay has 2 copies. He just showed on the screen for audio listeners. They're both in box.
Complete in box. One of them's they're both in really, really good shape, actually. So this wasn't really planned. It wasn't like, I need 2 copies of my favorite game. It was just, I've had a copy for a long, I've had a copy for a long time. And in my eBay, capades, I got another copy complete in box. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago for $80. And I was going to flip it because they were going for 150 to 200 at the time. Now they're like 250, 300. And I got it, and I started looking at the box. I was like, they look a little different. What's going on? And I literally didn't even know this, but I'm gonna try to show this on camera if you're watching on YouTube or on stream right now. If you look at the bottom one, it
Made
says
in
"Made in
Mexico.
Mexico." Right. So what it turned out, the copy that I got, actually, I think the copy that I had was made in Mexico, and the new copy that I got was Japan. So Japan is the first release, and Mexico is the later release. So whatever year it released, 96, the Japan copy is one of the first ones. And whenever they switch to Mexico, and for anybody who doesn't know, all the like original NES, or actually it'd be Super Nintendo specifically, Super Nintendo games were all started in Japan. Like they all had Japan releases to begin with. And then after a while, they transferred their, I don't know the full story, but they transferred like all of their manufacturing to Mexico. And it says made in Mexico very specifically. The label looks very similar. There's not much differentiation. The box, the manual, everything is still full color. It still looks really good. Quality's still up there. There's very little differences that you can tell other than, it says made in Mexico. And so I got the Japanese copy and I was like, well, I for sure want the Japanese copy, but I also don't want to give up the copy that I had. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. So I was like, I'll just have two copies. There's certain games that I have two copies of, like Super Mario 64. I have the player's choice version and the red box version. Fire Red, Leaf Green, I have both player's choice in the original releases. So if it's a more rare or like really good condition game, I might keep two copies of it just because I'm weird like that in my collection. So whatever you do though, never look for an assembled in Mexico game, because that is the terrible Majesco re-released from the early 90s or late
Oh,
90s,
okay.
I guess. Yeah. Like 99 they started re-releasing those. So like Mega Man X, Earthworm Jim 2, it's just awful build quality, terrible.
So made in Mexico is okay, but assembled in Mexico is poor quality.
Correct. Yes, awful. And it
Interesting.
seems like a lot of these opinions and things that I've learned over the last 7 or 8 years are coming to light for people, like in the collecting community, now that think prices have gone up and stuff, all the sealed stuff. You remember how we talked about the Left Bros
Yeah.
Mario 3?
Yeah.
So what was it, not that long ago, a copy sold on heritage auctions for 150 some odd thousand, a sealed copy of Left Bros.
Wow.
And that was the highest copy ever sold of like any video game up until this last week, actually. And it made copies of Left Bros go from, I don't know, the 100 to 150 range. Now they're going for like, in good condition, north of $1,000
Oh my
for a
God.
copy of Left Bros. So something that I keyed in on and tried to collect now, like, so that's been happening, just like sealed games and things I've been trying to go after for a long time are just like skyrocketing. So I imagine things like this in the assembled in Mexico version, collectors are going to actually start caring about, the quality and the build and all that stuff too at some point. So
This is
maybe.
something that I had no idea about until we started doing this podcast and you started explaining it to me. It's like I never really considered the boxes to be worth all that much. I knew that people valued them because they obviously the art on the box, especially on the front of the box, is it's worth something. But I never realized like how much money these things were going for, and like all the small details of like Left Bros versus Right Bros, where for anybody who didn't watch that episode of the podcast, Super Mario Brothers 3, there's two variants. I think there's more than two variants, but there's one variant with the Bros written under the S or under the M on Super Mario, and there's one where it's on the right hand side under the O of Super Mario.
I think there's two main releases. It's Left Bros and Right Bros. Left Bros is the first release, like the very first print copies were all Left Bro. Like cart, manual, box, all had the Bros from Super Mario Bros on the left, like left aligned. And then shortly after, it was only, I don't know, less than a year after, I think they switched it to Right Bros because it was easy to read, which made sense. and they had Right Bros for the rest of the production.
Hmm.
I think there's like promotional copy games that you can get that have a little star on the inner flap of the game, like when you open the box and the little tabs that are kind of under the main flap, they can have a little star code, like it has like an asterisk. That's like a promotional copy that you can get from like mailing in a thing to Nintendo Power or something like
Really?
that, which is its own variant for like all Nintendo games. So if you ever have an NES, Super Nintendo game, anything, make sure to look on the flap to see if there's a star code. They don't really fetch a premium yet, but something tells me they will at some point once the collectors community understands that as a whole, that they're kind of
Once they
special and
cotton
rare.
on.
Yeah.
Well, now that
So
that one copy went for what was it again? $100,000.
it was like 160 or 150,000, something like that.
God damn, that's a lot of money to spend on a
Yeah.
video game.
Yeah. And the original one that like started this whole boom was the first series Super Mario Brothers, the one with the matte sticker that had like
Yeah,
a 9.2 rating or something like that, went for 110 the year
yeah,
before, which now they speculate's worth over 1 million, by the way, in like 2 years. So
right. Because
GG's to that
another
person.
copy just went for a huge
Yeah, and
amount of money.
that was the fourth print. The one that went for over half, like $660,000, was a fourth
Fourth
print.
print. That's not
Fourth
even that fourth. What
out
the
of
heck?
10. Yeah.
That's not even worth money. Get out of here.
So,
Fourth
and
print.
later on, when we go
First
over my
print or
pickups,
bust. That's what I say.
I have some first print games that I picked up at the game store to go over later.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Yeah,
All right. I'm looking
teasing
forward
it
to that.
out. So just to wrap this up, I did want to mention, if you guys are sitting on uh pretty much any Pokemon game, any sealed game, especially if it's in cardboard, definitely go to pricecharting.com, see what it's worth in whatever condition you have, and think about selling, because man, a copy of like Pokemon Emerald card only is going for $150. Heart Gold, Soul Silver in case and manual are going for like 200, without the outer box and all that stuff. Like a card only copy of
God damn. I
Pokemon
gotta start going to
Pearl and
Goodwill.
Diamond are like $50. It's insane.
Start
And
hitting
I
up
mean,
all the pawn shops and stuff around.
yeah. And just throwing that out there, if you don't want to deal with it, but you need the money, hit me up in a DM and I can shoot you an offer. Like straight up.
There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Aren't you? I'm always scared to do business with friends. I was Tefty is trying to sell me a camera right now. He's got an extra camera, and he's like, "Do you want it? I'll give you like $200 off what it's going for at eBay." And I'm like, man, I'm so scared to do business with friends because like, what if something goes wrong? Then like, I don't want like there to be like this animosity. You know what I mean?
I'd rather deal with some random person I don't know on the internet.
Yeah, that way I could just throw all the hate at him that I need to. You know, like I could just be as much of a dickhead because I am very particular. You know, like if somebody sends me something and it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, or if it's not exactly right, like I'm going to have a problem because
Yeah.
I value my money.
I mean, there's been folks, and before I even said anything, there's been folks from this community and DCP community that have reached out to me and be like, "Are you interested in this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I got to tell you straight up though, I'm not going to give you full price for it. I'll give you like an offer of 40 to 50% of what they're worth, but you can like I'll just send you an offer for everything." And they're like, "Okay." And they're like, "I'll just send you whatever and you send me whatever you think is fair." I'm like, "Okay." And I literally, it's like 40 to 50%, like this is what I can do. And they're like, "We're cool. I'm cool with that." Somebody in chat says, "Why so wouldn't holding it be worth more in the future?" This is a good point, and I've been worried
I
about
don't
it.
know.
So, if you're looking for some money right now with everything going on, and you do not care about these games, you just have no, you know, nostalgia, no reason to keep them or anything like that, it's definitely a time to sell right now, because I am thinking about selling some of my games. But there is a fear that some certain games will continue to go up. I don't think Pokemon are going to continue to go up past a certain point, um, especially if it's loose and not great condition and stuff. People are in the pandemic, I think, at home still, and they got an influx of cash right now, a little bit, maybe, and they have some extra time and stuff. But I think once the pandemic starts to get normalized and everything goes back kind of the way it was, you're going to see things kind of come down a little bit.
Let's hope.
10, 20 years from now, who knows? But are you really going to try to keep it for 10 or 20 years in hopes that it's going to go up another $20?
It could be that the bottom of the market falls out too, like once, like it did for Atari games, right? There used to be a time when Atari games were like extremely highly collected.
Yeah.
Now it's like they can't get them off at store shelves because all the people who collected them either got all of the ones they wanted or whatever, like they just aged out of collecting Atari games, and now there's just not much of a collector's market for Atari games unless you got something that's like really rare, because there's the age of the people who actually played Atari when they were kids. That nostalgia has, those people are 70 years old now, 60 years old,
So some things to look at. If you go back and look at NES and SNES before this recent boom in the last 2 years, they started to plateau and go down a little bit 4-ish years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. NES games and SNES games, like I've tracked these for a long time, and there'd be like a spike and it would kind of plateau and then it started to come down a little bit. Like SNES games, even the rare ones were starting to come down. And then the pandemic hit and they all spiked again, like NES, SNES, GameCube, anything Nintendo, anything rare, anything sealed. And also with the sealed stuff, we're still in the beginning of this boom, and collectors of other markets like comic book collectors, all these rare art collectors and stuff are getting into rare sealed high grade video games as an investment tool, kind of. And they want to have this like premium stuff. So if you have sealed stuff, that's a harder question to answer because we're still kind of in the beginning of things. But at some point, you will see, like, the reason this game we're going to talk about today went for 660,000 is because it was the first to be on the market at that quality for that release, and people are trying to catch lightning. And it was
how much
the
was your stimulus check? I think I got
4
robbed.
kids, 2 kids, 2 kids, all that stuff. Yeah, no, went into savings. What do you mean? Childcare savings.
Mine wasn't
But
660,000.
no, at some point though, I do think as more people are like, well, this is the time to sell, right? The longer it takes and the more people get into it, there's going to be more supply, which means, people are going to be able to get what they want. Demand's going to start going down a little bit. You're going to see things plateau. Whether that happens right now, whether it happens a year from now, 5, 10, who knows? But you're going to see some kind of plateau, especially even in sealed stuff, because it's gone. I swear, games that. So I have a sealed Pokemon Emerald. I have a sealed Super Smash Brothers for N64, and they have gone up 10 times what they were worth less than a year ago in the last few months. 10 times. Just because stuff is like sealed stuff is crazy. If you go to heritageauctionha.com, you can create an account. You can look at the recent sales of these, and just other markets and other collectors are just gobbling all these sealed games up right now. And it's just insane.
You really got to start asking yourself, why am I collecting? Do I hope to make a profit off of this, or am I just trying to collect for my own personal satisfaction? Like for me, I've been just collecting so I have these like access to the actual hardware to play the games on, because that's part of the fun. I've had that kind of discussion about like how it's like playing a record, like there's the whole process of putting the record on and putting the needle on the record and sitting down to listen to like a full record is very much how I feel when I put a cartridge into a Super Nintendo, slide the blue button up to turn on the Super Nintendo, and I see the flash on the CRT, and I'm holding the Super Nintendo controller and everything. It's like all of that goes into the enjoyment of playing this game. But man, if somebody's going to offer me $1,000 for a game I paid $20 for, like it's like, I'm not stupid. I can play all these games on a Mister.
Yeah. For me, it's like literally if it plateaus and goes down, I'm going to like go into depression because I'm going to be I want to be like the what if, because I have some it's like 40 sealed, 50 sealed games or so. Not all of them are crazy expensive, but it's a question for me personally of will they continue to go up?
Yeah.
Because I never really, when I buy sealed games, it's not like I'm buying them to play. Obviously, it's more just because they're rare. Uh, it's very hard to come by sealed games in general, especially at a decent price. And just to have something that nobody's opened, there's like a special, like holding a sealed game has this weird special kind of aura to it. You imagine the story of this game sitting on a shelf and somebody buying it, putting it on their shelf, and not getting around to it or whatever, and it coming into my possession. It just, I don't know. There's something special about sealed games, and I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I can let go of some of these because I know if I do, I will probably never come across another one again, even though most of mine aren't in pristine condition. Some of them are worth getting graded, most of them probably aren't. And it's just, I don't know, keeping something in that good of condition, just there's something special about it.
There's something
But
about being the keeper of something like that too, the protector.
right. Yeah. And
Like
if I
when I
sell
find
it,
a
like, sorry, find a what?
when I find like a beat up game, it kind of some of the fun to me is actually cleaning it up and like, okay, you found a good home. It's like getting a puppy
Mhm.
dog. Like you found a
Yeah.
good home. We're gonna take care of you.
Yeah. And pretty much all of these sealed games that I have an open copy, at least of the cart, so I can play them. Um, but yeah, just if you sell some, if you're not in dire need of the cash right now, the money just goes away. But if you have that physical thing and you care about it, it's hard to just it. You have it on a shelf, you can hold it or look at it whenever you want to, and it doesn't go away. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if I'll sell anything or not, but it's insane right now
Well,
for
I'm still
sure.
hoping to be holding on to my Super Mario RPG cartridge sometime soon. Hey, what the fuck?
Did you go back on eBay and look if it was a Mexico or Japan version?
No, I haven't. I haven't looked. It'll be a surprise. I was hoping to have it for the show. I was like,
Yeah, you'll have to let me
we
know.
could have found out in the show, but now we'll have to wait till next week. Hopefully, it'll come next week. Should we go to the news?
We didn't even like talk about how we are or how have you been,
Uh,
Briar? It's been a month. Everything good?
Look, I'm still holding on, Jay. I'm locking it down. Times are hard. I'm not always taking it the best, but I'm still holding on. That's all I can
Yeah,
do right now. I got my first COVID shot though. I'm pretty excited about that. I got one
nice.
more to do. So I actually was reading that like even like a week or two after you get your first COVID shot, you have like some immunity, and then the second
Hmm.
one obviously adds to that. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Also, spring is on its way, starting to warm up
Uh,
around here in Connecticut, which is nice. What about
so
you?
I just wanted to ask how long it took to get an appointment once you were eligible for COVID shot.
It took me a week. It was kind of like I've got a lot of practice lately, with PS5 and Xbox Series X and
Refreshing.
various analog, pre-orders and all this stuff. Now it's like I've been trying to get a graphics card for 6 months now. It feels like, so I've got a lot of practice. It actually didn't bother me that much because I was just kind of kept the in Connecticut. There's like this one page that lists all the all the sites, and it kind of just will tell you when it's available. And a week after I was eligible, I was able to get an appointment. And then it took me 3 more days to get in to do the appointment. Man, it was super easy. In and out. I went to a CVS. I got the Pfizer shot. I made an appointment for 1 o'clock on a Sunday. I walked in. There was one person in front of me in line. I waited about 3 minutes for that one person to be done. I sat down. They asked me a couple of questions, about allergies and stuff like that. They stuck me with a needle that was so thin that I hardly even felt it go. Like it was so painless. Then they ask you to stick around for 15 minutes to make sure you're not going to have a bad reaction to the shot. I did that. I was talking to the nurses for a while, and then I was out of there, and I was, halfway done with my COVID vaccine, and I was pretty excited about it.
Nice. I was officially eligible yesterday on the 5th. So we'll
Nice.
see how long it takes me to get an appointment. As things open up and more people are eligible, I think it's just gonna be harder and harder because I went a couple of times and it was like, yeah, no appointments available. It was like 50
Yeah.
pages of that. So
I got my
and
appointment at like 2:00 in the morning. I was like still up at like 2:00 in the
AM.
morning. Yeah. So I figured I'd do like a quick check of all the sites to see if
Oh,
anything
you got
was.
the appointment.
Yeah, I got my I
You
was able to
checked it
book
at
my
2 in the morning.
appointment at 2 a.m.
I thought you went in at 2 a.m. I was
No,
like,
no.
what?
So yeah, I don't know. Like if you're a night owl, maybe it's worth checking it like in the middle of the
Yeah.
night when less people are barraging those sites.
For sure. And you mentioned spring, and I tweeted about this a couple of days ago. I need the trees to stop fucking so I can breathe, please,
Mm.
because pollen is nuts and my allergies do not like it.
Yeah, we haven't had them. We haven't had the pollen start yet here. I get allergies too. Does Claritin
Hay
work for you?
fever.
It works for me.
So it's funny. I literally picked up my new prescription of Claritin D yesterday. It's because you have to have a prescription of it here in Oregon.
Oh, really?
And you don't in Washington. So theoretically, I could drive up for like an hour and grab it from a pharmacy or something. But
Yeah, I don't think we have to have
yeah,
it here either.
I do get 30 pills though, so it lasts me pretty much the whole year because I take like 1 or 2 a week. But it's the only thing that can let me function because otherwise I'm like just teary eyed and it's just sneezing every 5 seconds. I can't. It's just insane.
One of
I
my
have a
friends
picture.
from high school has it so bad that for all during spring he's basically just crying, and there's no medication that really helps him out. It's a really goddamn shame.
Oh,
It's been like that since high school.
So I'm gonna paste a picture into Discord message right now, and this is just between you and me, but I want to see your reaction.
Okay.
Seems like you'd
Oh, I
appreciate
can't look
this.
at Discord right now.
Oh, Twitter.
Yeah, I can look at Twitter.
All right. Why is it sideways?
But yeah, allergies are no fun, but if you can get medication for them, it certainly
Sorry,
does
this
make it
is
easier.
sideways. I literally copied and pasted. I don't know why it's sideways, but enjoy.
Oh, that's
That's after me mowing the lawn for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Can I describe the picture?
Sure.
That's a picture of Jay looking very surprised and a little bit concerned. It looks like it's a selfie, and he's got a snot hanging out of his right nostril that basically it reaches down to his chin, I'd say. A good, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, not accounting for what's in the nose.
That is not doctored at all, by the way.
Well, thank you for sharing it. Now we have a thumbnail for this week's episode.
Oh, no. Enjoy your dinner, Briar. I don't think that picture should see the internet. Or the other way
That's
around.
probably, I would keep that one to myself too.
I figured if all the people that would appreciate that picture would be Briar.
Yes, I do enjoy a good snot. I noticed, I was actually asking the DCP crew about this a couple weeks ago. I get more boogers in my left nostril than I do in my right nostril over time. Like the average, I'd say the boogers per day it's higher on the left side than it is on the right side.
BPD, yeah.
Yeah, BPD, my BPD production. And I was wondering if anybody else had like a similar phenomenon going on in their nasal cavity, and everybody just kind of looked at me like I was crazy. But I get significantly more in my left side, and Tefty asked me if perhaps it was because I sleep on my left side, and that is in fact the case. I do sleep on my left side, so maybe the production of boogers that's happening overnight, it all kind of drains to the left-hand side, and in the morning, I now have this problem that can only be taken care of with a little bit of digging.
The first thing you do in the morning. Best part of waking up.
Sticking a finger up your nose.
But no, I'd say I agree with you. Usually it's not always, I don't know if it's always the same, but whenever I'm like having a hard time, like like when one is clogged or whatever, it's always one side. You go you go to blow your nose like, and then nothing,
Yeah.
just completely stuck.
I
Yeah,
can't
great.
sleep either when I have like a stuffed nose from allergies or from a cold or something. So
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of like those Afrin medications that you blow up your nose. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? Like those
I do.
sprays. But
Uh,
then the problem with that is if you take them for more than like a week or so, you can actually get addicted to it really easily. And it's the addiction isn't like a big deal. It's just that now your body is going to start making snot all the time, and you have to keep
oh,
using this stuff. So you're gonna at some point have to wean yourself off, which is basically like going through having a stuffy nose again for a week until your body kind of like regulates again. So I don't know. That's probably enough snot talk for the day.
you've had your quota. All right.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I'm glad you went on vacation, man. How was your
Yeah,
vacation?
it was. We went to the Oregon coast. My mom has a timeshare. She's had it for like 15 years, and they booked it for her birthday weekend. But she's like, I don't think we can make it. Would you guys want to go? And we're like, I mean, a relatively free stay at the coast on a yeah, why not? Like, but it was cold and wet and windy. But there was one day that we could go hang out on the beach, and most of the time, like I got a lot of anxiety around people right now, just with COVID stuff the last year and a half has
Yeah,
upped to my anxiety around people so much because I don't know what other people are doing. I don't know if they're being safe. I don't know all this stuff.
yeah.
So
Last thing you want
I
to do
kind
is
of
bring it home to your kids and get your kids sick or your wife sick
well, the
or
kids
something
were
like
with
that.
us.
Yeah.
The kids were with us. So I used that as an excuse to stay. I stayed with our baby girl in the hotel room quite a bit while my wife and 4.5-year-old went down to the beach and went and bought him a kite at one of the local little stores and stuff. 'Cause the baby girl enjoyed the beach when it was, like, not super windy, but the first day she went out and she freaked out because it was just, like, 40-mile-an-hour winds on the beach and stuff, and she just, like, was panicking. So, I stayed in the room with her quite a bit while she napped and all that stuff, so but it was still fun. We set up the beach tent that we had gotten in the hotel room,
I
which was
saw a
fun.
picture
My
of that
son
on
slept
Twitter. I
in
thought
that,
that was
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I
Theo
liked it.
slept in that. It was pretty cute.
Those are the kind of memories that you get for a
Yeah,
lifetime, though. Doing that stuff with your father, your parents, your kids will
yeah.
remember that stuff for a lifetime. It's
Good.
never the stuff you expect, right?
Right.
Like looking back at what your memories are of your parents, it's never the stuff it's never the big stuff, like when they took you to Disney World or Disneyland or something like that. It's those little moments where they sat with you and helped you like put together a transformer or, like you just sat on their lap while they read the paper or something like that. It's the little
Yeah.
stuff.
I remember my dad sleeping on a lazy boy at my grandma's house, and I went up and I was like, "Dad, it's time for dinner." And he just I'm gonna try to do it without breaking your ears, but he's like, mouth open on the lazy boy, and I go up, I'm like, "Dad, it's time to wake up for dinner." Oh!
Yeah.
Like full body panic. Just could never wake him up quietly. This did not work. Anyways,
News?
yeah. Retro news. Lots of stuff to talk about. Some of the bigger stores, I kind of did it. I organized it kind of by bigger story down to smaller story. Analog Pocket has been delayed. Actually, I don't know. Why did I put again? I don't know if it was it delayed? I think it might have been delayed once.
I mean,
But
I feel like it's been delayed before because the first time I started hearing about it and reading like magazine articles about it was in 2018.
mhm,
So it's like, why would you start kind of like trotting it out for magazines and stuff so early unless it was kind of right around the corner?
right. So Analog Pocket, they say should be shipping in October, which is, I mean, not horrible. It was originally supposed to be May, but who knows if they'll be able to stick to it because of the electrical component shortages going on still.
Yeah,
And that's
and getting
affecting all
worse.
industries.
Yeah,
Yeah. Briar was talking before the show about a car that he's leasing, and any potential to get a new one is affected by this as well, which is
yeah.
crazy to
Like
me.
I don't know if I'll be able to get at least the car that I want. Like and like because it's a lease, you got a deadline. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, we've been going through this with graphics cards, with computer parts, obviously the PlayStation, the Xbox. You know, there's it's heavily rumored that the Switch is going to come out with a new Switch this year, which I think is silliness. I don't think they're going to do it this year. I think they got to wait for this chip shortage to be over. But it's like it's every industry that uses electronics is being affected by this.
Well, they have to announce Nintendo has to announce the Super Nintendo Switch first, right? Super Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But at least Analog kind of communicated with us, and I was thinking that, with COVID and the way that the last year has gone, no delay has surprised me, like whether it's video game related or otherwise. And people that have this expectation that we can't have grace for these companies and empathy for their situation, it's just a little ridiculous to me, some of the reactions on Twitter. I can't believe you're delaying this again. I paid good money and burn. It's like, dude, just put yourself in their shoes and what they're going through and what they're trying to do for us and stuff like that. Just like have a little bit of empathy. Be great.
I 100% agree with you. Like, in the middle of this pandemic, plus the shortages on chips and all this stuff going on, it's way harder to get stuff shipped. I mean, for Christ's sake, there was what was the canal called? I can't remember the name of it now. With the ship that blocked it for a week, and like international shipping just got like locked down for a week because the Suez Canal was blocked. Like, it's just like a ridiculous time. The shit is gonna go away. Like, we'll get back to normal. And I understand. Like, I'm disappointed too. I'm really looking forward to the Pocket. I think I tweeted out like, that's a bummer. Still looking forward to it in October though.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are you gonna do? And Analog kind of came out and said, look, we're sorry, but the Duo is still coming out in April. They are planning on restocking the Mega SG and the Super NT, which is great because the Super NT retails for $190 from Analog, but sells for like $400 or $500 on eBay because they haven't sold new ones in a year and a half. So I mean, they are gonna get stuff out there. What are you gonna do? It's disappointing, yeah, but get over it. It's like the worst of your problems, or it's the least of your problems.
Right.
That's a funny thing about gamer culture. It's like they get so fucking mad about shit, and it's like this doesn't matter. It's just the video games, man. We're here to have fun. Like that's the whole point.
Right. It's a weird ownership and entitlement over a piece of software that it's so weird to me. Maybe it's just because we're older and understand that our video games back in the day, it's like you get the cartridge and that's it. Like there's no updates, there's no fixes. If it glitches, you fucking you're dealing with it. You didn't have an internet to complain about with other people and all that stuff. And
I think that's it. It's the anonymity right there. It's like, what are you gonna write a letter to Super Nintendo? Like, what are you gonna do if you're? First of all, you didn't know when the release date was of anything, right? It's like they might tell you, it's coming out sometime in spring or fall, but like you really didn't know when stuff was coming out. Not till later, probably the mid 90s when you actually started seeing more like firm release dates. But then also there was no internet. Like you could write a letter to EGM, you could write a letter to like the actual company, but like, what are you going to do? But now everybody's on the internet just spouting off like they know anything about anything, which they don't. So it's like,
right.
I think that's really what it is.
It'd be interesting to talk to anybody that worked at like Nintendo or Sega to see like, did anybody send you rage mail over some, like a video game? They probably did. Like, you made this game too hard. I can't believe I spent $60 on this game, and then I traded it in for $45 at GameStop, and it's like.
You remember like the Nintendo Power line, like the phone number you used to be able to call? It was a 1-900 line.
Are you talking about the tips and tricks line?
Yeah. I wonder if anybody ever called that and complained.
Like,
you had to pay to talk.
It was like $1.99 a minute or 99 cents a minute or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was expensive, whatever it was. I definitely called it.
Yeah, I think I've told the story the first episode we had, right? Because it was Links to the Past, I think.
Yeah.
Right? And a copy that I got through eBay for stupid cheap was inbox complete, and it had a um, do not resale sticker on it. And it came to find out that the person that I got it from, their grandfather was actually was one of those people
Oh,
at
really?
Nintendo.
A
Yeah,
tipster?
yeah. So
A Nintendo
that's where the copy
professional?
came from. It came from like the Nintendo employee store. So
That's awesome.
yeah, keeping that.
Yeah, this is sad news, but I'm still looking forward to this. The Analog Pocket, I think, is the most exciting retro piece of hardware that's coming out, or that's been announced anyway, for a while. And then once the community gets its hands on it, it's going to be even more exciting to open up those cores and start. I mean, this thing ought to be able to play anything from the Atari Lynx to the Genesis to the Neo Geo. Like, I mean, the FPGA core in this is basically the same one that's inside the Mister. So it should be. I mean, this thing's gonna be wide open. Like, this is gonna be so fun. And Analog has already said that they're gonna release development tools to the community. So, like,
With arms wide open.
yeah, like it's gonna be a portable Mister that you can also plug into a TV with HDMI. It's kind of a dream device for retro gamers.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
worth the wait. I
definitely.
hope they do open up more pre-orders for it.
For sure.
Frodo needs his pocket.
Polymega back in the news again. And they are, as they quote, still on track despite all the issues. Like, and there's some more issues. Having a business license revoked in California is kind of a roadblock. Apparently, there was an expired credit card or something, but they say
Yeah,
that they're still on track. But and it's sad because a lot of people are saying it's good hardware and all this, that, and the other, but who
yeah.
knows?
I, I have nothing but well wishes for these guys. I hope the best for them. I feel like the hardware is just too expensive. I don't know what to tell you. It's like it's a cool device. At $300, I feel like you'd sell a ton. At $200, I feel like you'd sell a whole bunch. I don't know. Do you collect CD games
I
like
have a
PlayStation,
small
Saturn?
smattering. Yeah, I have a small smattering of like GameCube, Dreamcast, PS1. No like nothing past that. I don't really collect like PS2 or 360 games or anything like that. I mean, I have some like Xbox One and 360 and PS4 games just from playing, but
I don't really collect. I mean, I have the games that I've played over the last couple of generations, like, but I've also sold a lot of them, like, as
Mhm.
trade-ins to get the new games. Because when I was younger and money was tight, if I wanted to play a new game, I would trade in my old games. Going back, I wish I hadn't, but at the same time, I'm glad I did because it gave me the opportunity to play a lot more games. So it's like really, it's
Right.
kind of a wash. But I don't know, for some reason, CDs don't have the same cachet in my head that cartridge does. And I'm also kind of scared of bit rot, which is a real issue on the early CDs, PlayStation, Sega CD, Turbo Duo. Like those do suffer from bit rot, where the discs are actually, the plastic discs themselves are actually disintegrating, which is a shame. But what are you gonna do?
Cart- Cartridges are going to be around, 1,000 years after humanity is dead, and the cartridges are still going to work.
Cartridges have problems too. Like the capacitors can leak and actually destroy the circuit board the cartridge is on. But it's not that big a deal because it just doesn't seem to be happening to that many cartridges. Luckily, the companies that made these things actually used like high quality capacitors, but it does happen.
Is that like weather related or
The capacitors, I think it's
like,
just
yeah,
time.
okay.
I don't see it a whole lot though. People talk about it happening occasionally, but it's gonna happen more. Like capacitors have a shelf life. A lot of consoles, this is a big deal for. Like if you
Hmm.
have a TurboGrafx, I think the two big ones that are like really risky are TurboGrafx and the Game Gear.
Hmm.
Is that those things? If you have one and it's never been recapped, you should definitely open it up and at least look at it. because it's probably leaking that the capacitor, the fluid that's inside a capacitor actually leaks out and it can corrode the other components and even the circuit board itself and ruin the console. So it's actually relatively easy and cheap to replace those capacitors.
If you
And
know how to
obviously,
solder.
even if you don't, you can send it off to people, and it'll
Oh,
cost you like $100. You know, like to have somebody open it up, replace all the capacitors, send it back to you, and you have basically a brand new, fresh console at that point. I think it's well worth doing, especially for those two. The Xbox, the original Xbox, has a really bad one too, that could ruin the Xbox. But yeah, there's in the late '90s, there's just a rash. I think in the early '90s too, there was a rash of bad capacitors coming out of Japan that kind of just shit happens, you know. And if you really care about your console, it's probably at least worth checking it out.
For sure. All right,
That's what we
going
think about
back.
the Polymega.
I mean, yeah, I wish them well. I wish them well too, but it just, I get this feeling that things aren't going to work out, and maybe the people that get them in their hands, they don't care, but there's not going to be any support for it. I have a feeling, long term.
I've thought
And
about ordering one of these multiple times, but I have very little confidence that it's actually going to ship.
right. Well, in a lot of the things that are happening, it tells me kind of the organization they have as a company is kind of scary. You know,
Yeah.
there's been so many systems in the last 5 to 10 years that have just kind of come and gone very quick. Like I was a Kickstarter for Ouya. You remember
I
the
have an
Ouya?
Ouya in my closet. Yeah, I have one in there.
Yeah. The second I got it, I plugged it in and tried to play Super Mario World on it, and I had about a half-second delay with the button presses, and I was like, "Yep, that's going back in the box."
That was the worst controller I've ever held in my hands. Ever. It was terrible. It was uncomfortable, unresponsive, like you said. It was awful.
Yeah. I sold it for about what I paid for it, so like a month later.
Yeah, I kept mine. I don't know why. Jay, I have about, I don't know, $660,000 sitting around. I've been looking for something to spend on it. You got anything?
I got just
got any
the
good
thing
ideas?
for you, Briar. Let me tell you about this Mario Brothers. It's a 9.6. 9.6 sealed fourth like it's a fourth generation for not fourth generation, fourth release out of 10. Record broken for most expensive video game collectible ever. Not just game, but like video game collectible, because the previous one was technically, I believe, the Nintendo PlayStation that went for 300 and some odd thousand.
Yeah.
And before that, the Super Mario Brothers Left Bros went for around 150, 160. And then a year before that, it was the quintessential thing that started this whole new video game boom as of the last 3 years. And that was the Super Mario Brothers first release matte sticker copy that was a 9.2 or something like that, that sold for 110. But this game, $660,000. It's insane. And people are saying this is sparking this whole question of like who's buying these sealed games on heritage auctions, cuz not is it just Mario Brothers, like Punch Out went for like 100K, I think. And it was the first release, like the White Bullets, and Pokemon games are going for ridiculous sums of money, 50, 60,000, stuff like that. Who is getting these chunks of money to spend on these games?
How
So,
much money would you have to spend it on a $660,000 copy of Mario Brothers? Like at what point is your bank account so full? Like how much money would you need? Like $1 billion? Like if you had $1 billion, could you justify spending $660,000 on a copy of Mario Brothers?
if you thought that it was going to continue to appreciate, sure. If you looked at it, because the way, like, with how
Can you
fast things
really
are,
think that? Can you
with how
really think
fast
that?
things are moving right now, that copy of Mario Brothers that went for 110 is now speculated to be worth over 1 million 3 years later. That's almost a 10 times growth in like 3 years. People
Where did
that are
these
rich are
heritage
always
auction
looking.
guys come from? Who's grading these things? What is the name of the company that's grading them?
WATA, WATA.
Yeah, where did they come from? They're a new company, right?
They're like 5 years old now, I think.
Yeah.
But
I
they
kind of
have a
remember the
relation.
controversy of them being on Pawn Stars, and like that was like a manufactured episode of Pawn Stars. They had paid Pawn Stars to get on that show to kind of like, hey, look, you can grade video games now.
Well, VGA was around before them,
Yeah.
but WATA is now the quintessential grading company because they have a direct relationship with Heritage Auctions. Like they are the only way you can sell on Heritage Auctions video games now, I believe, is if you have them WATA graded.
So somebody's making a whole lot of money off of this.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
It's
for
not
doing
me.
basically nothing. Like there's a scam in here somewhere. I these guys at WATA and Heritage Auctions are making a shitload of money off of this, right?
Yeah. 30% fees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about 30% on 660.
That'd be nice. That's a nice day. It's a nice bit
I mean,
of chunk of
what if
change.
you owned like 1,000 Bitcoin?
Yeah. How much is that? They're worth what? 33? I don't even know what they're
No,
worth anymore. That
like
changes every
almost
day too.
60. They're almost worth 60K each right now.
60K each. Wow.
And I could have bought in at 250 and I didn't.
Yeah.
I punch myself every day.
Yeah.
Uh,
That shit'll drive you
but yeah,
crazy. That shit'll keep you up at night. You gotta just let it go.
yeah. People are yeah, right. People are talking about that it's like comic book collectors and stuff that are coming in because comic book market is kind of dry right now and video games are still kind of in their infancy. So if you get in on these really one of a kind type games, there's not really anywhere else to go but up. If like assuming you own one, two, three copies, think about the Charizard stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Those PSA 10 original Shadowless Charizard. There's like what? There's not very many in existence, and that's why they're worth so much. And it's the same here. So if you have a game like this in that condition, if you have one just on the shelf that's graded, it's not going to be a 9.6. It's not. These are like you get the shipping box, you take it out, and you preserve it from day one kind of condition. So, because
It's
the
an awful
highest
lot of
they've
money.
ever, the
What do they
highest
say
that
about a
WATA
fool and
has,
his money?
yeah, I'm pretty sure the highest grading for WATA is a 9.8 ever. I don't think they've ever had a 10.
Anyhow,
Anyways, $660,000.
that's a lot of money.
And
It's
that
not
has
even a first release.
Firth, yeah.
Firth. This is just vodka.
Yeah. That's fine. But this happened what, like on the 1st or 2nd of April, 3rd of
Yeah.
April, maybe. So it
Yeah, it just
is
happened.
very recent. And it's also one of the reasons why, and we talked about this, I don't know, a couple of months ago when I said that I picked up either first or second print copy of Mario Brothers for $150.
Yeah.
It has that sticker on the it's what it's worth now. It's stupid.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably worth at least 2,500, and I don't even
Wow.
know if it's a first or second print. It's not in the best condition. It's stupid. It's all starting from these auctions.
Talk to me about Little Nemo.
So, one of my favorite NES games is the Little Nemo in Dreamland, or I think that's what it's called, Little Nemo in Dreamland. And they have a new Kickstarter. It's not even like really related to the old game. It's actually related to the original comic. There's a Kickstarter, Little Nemo and the Nightmare Fiends, and I think the game and the characters came from like an original comic, and this game is more in line with that style. It's almost a direct copy of that style, and they're trying to make a new game. And I learned about this 2 days ago on Sunday night, and the Kickstarter ended on the 1st.
Oh, I missed the Kickstarter already.
So yeah, they did say that they might like reopen it at some point. But they did get funded, but they didn't hit a lot of their stretch goals. So it's basically just going to be a game in the art style of the original comics. The comics from 1906, it looks like.
Yeah, it's super old.
Yeah. So the game, it looks really interesting. I don't know how I feel about the art style, but it is like super kind of authentic to the original art style. So if you're into Little Nemo and the Nightmare Fiends, you should probably bookmark this Kickstarter and keep your eye on it.
Yeah.
I
There's
I
no
don't know when
video
it'll.
of this game running that I can see
Oh, there is at the very top for
at
like
the very
10
top.
seconds, 10, 20
Okay.
seconds. Yeah.
I like the art style. I think it looks pretty nice. I'd like to see it
Yeah.
in motion. Oh, yeah, here it is in motion. It doesn't look as good in motion as it does still, but it's still early in development.
Yeah. Like mega early.
Yeah.
But I thought that
I
was
don't know. That's
interesting because,
Yeah.
yeah, Little Nemo was a great game. It was one of those that we talked about for Capcom. So,
Yeah. I would I would love to kickstart this. I'm sorry I missed it. I wish there was like it's hard to keep up with everything. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's just hard.
I wonder if I would have seen it, if we had a show 2 weeks ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? It's all our fault.
Sony, PS3, Vita, and PSP stores are closing this summer. And
This
while that
sucks.
it sounds super daunting, but it all comes down to, first of all, Vita and PS3 are ending August 27th and PSP is July 2nd. But that doesn't mean that you lose access to your stuff.
No.
Basically, if you've bought anything, if you've gotten anything from PSN, like your subscription or anything like that, if you have access to these games to download, you will continue to have access to download them.
For
The
now.
only thing forever, as far as this is concerned, they haven't said otherwise. But
This
this
to me is
affects,
the writing on the wall.
I don't know. This affects new game sales currently.
Yeah.
So you will not be able to purchase new digital games past these dates.
Yeah.
And there has been some speculation as a collector that a lot of these games are going to jump up in value after those dates too, because the only way to obtain them will be physical versions.
Yeah.
And some of these games are digital only, so it's kind of interesting.
Those games are
How
just going
that
to be gone, right? Unless,
Yeah.
well, okay, so there is the pirate scene. Obviously, these games you can just download them from, Internet Archive. Like, they're there. You can download every PS3, Vita, and PSP game. You can do that. But if you want to play on original hardware, and be legit about it, this is a real bummer because, like you said, some of these games are digital only. Like, there's games that only came out through the digital marketplace. There's games still coming for the Vita. Like, the Vita is still being actively developed for. I was watching a podcast, the Digital Foundry podcast. One of the guys on that podcast, Audie, is a developer right now, and he's they still make revenue from Vita game sales. This really sucks. Like we're just gonna lose access to digital games, and also as a collector, some people might be excited that their PS3 collection is going to go up in price. To me, that sucks because now it's just going to get harder to play some classic PS3 games. PS3 games that, they didn't get a huge print run are now going to get super rare. And you used to be able to just download them for 10 to 15 bucks off the PS3 store. But now it's going to be like, now you got to hunt down a physical copy, go to eBay, and like you're paying out the asshole. And that sucks. I really hate this. This, to me, is an indictment on buying digital goods because like they just disappear into the ether, right? It's like instead of all those people who bought, let's say, I don't know, what's a random PS3 game?
Africa.
Perfect, right? It's like if you bought the digital version of Africa, that is locked to your console. You can't sell that on the secondhand market. So like everybody who bought it digitally just kind of it's just locked to that console. So there's not as many retail copies around, which means that if I ever want to go play Africa, I've got to find out, well, how much does Africa cost if I want like a copy of it? And like it's probably not that expensive because it's Africa.
Like $80.
Is it $80?
one of the more rare ones. That's why I picked it.
Ugh, that's a goddamn shame, right? And that's not worth $80 to play. The only reason you pay $80 is because you want to collect that and hope to make money off of it. I'd assume.
Yeah.
I
And
hate this.
not
I
all.
hate this. This is why I hate digital storefronts so much. I
Yeah.
hate that the PC is completely digital. It's one of the reasons when even on new games, I prefer to get the copy from Best Buy or from GameStop and put it on my shelf. And even if I end up bringing it back, and selling it, at least there is now a physical copy of that game in existence somewhere. And
with PlayStation, it's tied to your account, not the system. So you can't even get anything for it because it's tied to your information.
yeah, that's the other thing is people have all these games on their PlayStations and they go to trade in their PlayStation and it's worth what, $40, $50? And they're like, what about the hundreds of dollars worth of games? Well, those don't come with it. You don't get anything for those,
You gotta wipe it.
Yeah, it's a real damn shame. And, at some point, they are going to turn off the servers for this stuff. Like, it's not going to be worth Sony's time and money to keep the servers up for this stuff. So you will not be able to download those games. You will not be able to get the patches for those games, even if you have a disc version, which sucks. Like how many disc versions?
Yeah. I just had an idea. And I think somebody like Microsoft or Google or Apple needs to get in on it. Having a spot, so I don't know how they would do it. They'd probably have to buy the licenses to these games. But if they're going to the actual game companies, they could potentially do it. Having a one-stop shop that you can download an app on your Xbox, your PlayStation, or whatever, that you can access these stores and access your games and have complete confidence that they're not going to go away.
Yeah.
Because somebody like you and me, if we wanted to start a company like this, it's a great idea, but there's no confidence that we would last, 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
But a company like Google could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, so that kind of thing also reminds me of why I have a hard time buying digital movies and TV shows and stuff too through a service like Vudu. Like,
Yeah.
who's Vudu? If you're not housing stuff on your Amazon account, are you confident that those are going to stick around in 5 or 10 years to watch again?
Yeah. Or what if you buy everything off of Amazon and Amazon decides this isn't the business they want to be in anymore? What
Right.
if they pull a Google and just like shut down a service that you've invested a ton of money into? And like, what do you do?
Kind of scary.
Yeah. It's a bummer. This
Yeah.
kind of stuff is a bummer, and it's going to continue to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, the Wii shop shut down, and like you just don't have access to any of that stuff anymore. Like there was a ton of video games that just came out on the Wii shop that just you can't play anymore if you don't get a copy or you pirate them. Like it almost looks like they're forcing us into piracy at this point.
Yeah. I still don't understand why Switch doesn't have like a virtual console setup. Because a lot of the games that you could access on the Wii or Wii U, you can't even buy on Switch. Like there's N64 games. My wife's like, I kind of want to play Donkey Kong 64 or Banjo Kazooie or something like that. I'm like, there's no
Who
way to
hurt
do it.
her? What? Why?
What? Well, she used to love Donkey Kong 64 as a kid, and she never played Banjo Kazooie. Banjo Kazooie is a classic. Are you talking smack?
I'm just kidding.
It's one of my second website I ever built was a Banjo Kazooie fan site.
Really?
In like 97 or 98. It was a gray background. I had frames. I had an iframe on the left side that you could scroll up and down. It had the scrolling marquees and animated GIFs and all that kind of stuff. Jblade 00's Fat N64 site, PHAT.
Jblade. That's what I'm going to call you from now on.
Great. All right, bye everybody. God, you're gonna remind me when I was in drum corps when I marched. For anybody who knows anything about drum corps, when I marched the Blue Devils, they made fun of me. They called me Jblade because I was on the Blue Devils forums as Jblade, and they're like, "Your name's Jblade. What's up, Jblade?" I fucking hated it so much. It's awful.
A 20-year-old unreleased Game Boy Color game is getting a Kickstarter soon. What are they gonna They're gonna release an unreleased game.
physically. Yeah.
That's neat. I love
Yep.
that.
Called Infinity.
Was it like
And
one of these like finished games that just never got a?
correct, there was licensing issues.
Oh, interesting.
So they're pulling together a team that's comprised, it's called Infinity, and it's comprised of some of the people I think that worked at Affinix, AFFINIX software from 99 to 2001 towards the end of Game Boy Color's retail lifespan. And then they kind of shifted their focus to Game Boy Advance, and the publishing struggles for the game and stuff just kind of happened, and they canceled the game. They just didn't release it. My guess is they were too afraid that releasing a game for Game Boy Color wouldn't have any traction because it was really close to Game Boy Advance, and just kind of scrapped it. But the
Game
team,
looks good.
yeah, it does. It looks kind of like a Zelda type game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty
Almost
cool.
like a cross between like a early Final Fantasy game and Zelda, where it looks like you've got access to magic, but are you doing some kind of real time actual? Yeah, you are like using a sword and stuff, but you've got access to magic. This is cool looking.
Yeah. I want to have it like I probably will buy 2 copies, one to open, one to keep sealed because that's how I am.
Oh, yes.
But it's not like that sealed copy is going to be worth, thousands or anything like that.
Yeah. All right. You said at the beginning of this news segment that you were putting the most important news stuff at the top and the least important stuff at the bottom, but you fucking lied.
I mean, we should probably do it the other way around. We should probably tease and leave the most important stuff for last,
The
right?
most important thing is coming up. This is the most important thing. There is a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in the style of Turtles in Time.
Looks dope.
It looks amazing. It's called Shredder's Revenge. There is a trailer. This I think this hit like a couple weeks ago, right? It definitely hit
Yeah,
while we
about
were
a
on
month ago.
break. It's also made by Emu, the people Emu. I don't know how to say their name, but they're the people that released Streets of Rage 4,
Yeah.
which was a phenomenal side-scrolling beat 'em up. So if it's nearly half as good as that, I am extremely excited about this. The trailer looks amazing. The turtles, all 4 turtles, like behave differently, so like you're gonna get a ton of replay value out of that. Like this game looks real good. I am very excited about it.
I imagine there's going to be online co-op as well.
That'd be great.
Did Streets of Rage 4 have online co-op?
I believe so.
Yeah. I mean, that it seems like a no-brainer for me in this day and age. But
Yeah,
it's going to be released for all platforms, I believe.
yeah, and
PC,
it's got
PC
like
and
all the licenses now because now that Nickelodeon has kind of consolidated all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles licenses, because that was a real problem with them. Some people held the license to the music, some people held the license to the cartoon, some people held the license to the comic book. Like it was all over the place, and it was really hard to make any content with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But now Nickelodeon just bought it all up. So now if you want to do stuff with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you can talk to one company. So this is inspired by the art from the original cartoon and has the original cartoon's theme song in it, which was nearly impossible to do.
right.
And it
Yeah,
looks
it looks
amazing.
fantastic. Great.
It looks real good.
Yeah, speaking of Nickelodeon, did you see the Super Bowl?
No.
So Nickelodeon, I don't know if they broadcast the whole game, but they had like special effects that they put over top of the Super Bowl.
Really?
So, like, yeah, when somebody was kicking a field goal, they put like SpongeBob SquarePants on TV, like in the
That's
middle of the
awesome.
field goal. And some of the highlights they put like cartoon effects behind, like, like they throw the ball and it has like flames coming behind the ball, and then somebody catches it, it's like boom, and then he's like the little like wind effects behind it was really
It
they're
was like
trying
Super
to
Bowl for kids.
yeah, exactly. They're trying to get kids addicted to football now.
Oh,
Like, I don't
well.
know.
When you put it like that, it sounds somewhat sinister, but it also sounds amazing.
I mean, there's probably some loss of interest with kids in football with the safety of it all and everything. So that's probably they're trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
realistically speaking. But
Yeah,
it
I
was
do
fun to
sports
watch.
photography, and the amount of football teams that are just closing up shop is kind of crazy. Like towns are
Mhm.
just like ditching it altogether, and like the leagues that are still around have like 30% or 40% the participation they used to have like 5 years ago.
I mean, I to be perfectly honest, I wasn't allowed to play football. I don't think I can realistically put our kids in football because
Yeah,
it's just a hard sport.
the
Think about,
what we know about serious brain trauma
right?
has really kind of illuminated. Hey, maybe it's not great to hit kids over the head with stuff. Who
Tough.
knew? Live
I
and
have
learn,
no
I guess.
judgment. Yeah, I have no judgment for anybody who chooses to or has their kids in football or anything. That's
Oh,
but it's tough. It's
yeah.
really
I mean,
tough.
and the leagues that are still around are definitely taking it. Um, what am I, like a representative for football? They are taking it seriously. Like they don't, they are trying to protect these kids from getting serious
Right,
brain
right.
trauma. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man, Shredder's Revenge looks dope. The graphic style is so good. It's definitely got kind of like a 16-bit style, but like way more modern. Like the animation is so fluid, and the
Mhm.
everything about it looks great. Like I'm really excited for this to come out. Do they have a date on this yet?
They're speculating, hopefully people are saying hopefully by the end of 2021 or like spring of 2022, I think
I
is what
hope
people are thinking. But
I, I hope it gets a physical release on like I hope it's a wide physical release. I hope it's not just limited run or something. But I definitely want to pick this up.
that'd
This
be
looks
cool.
great.
Streets of Rage 4 had a limited run release, didn't it?
Yeah, a cool one too. They put it in a Genesis box.
So I can't imagine they wouldn't have something for this. Can you
Yeah,
imagine getting an NES cartridge of this?
that'd be awesome. I don't know. This is Super Nintendo to me. Like with
Uh,
Turtles in Time, the arcade stuff.
yeah,
I guess the arcade
yeah,
game came to NES too, but I don't know. This just
yeah.
looks more like a
You're
Super
probably
Nintendo
right.
game.
It's way more in the 16-bit or 16-bit, yeah, 16-bit
Yeah.
than 8-bit for sure. I can't wait to see the slowdown when a whole bunch of enemies come on the screen at once and you're trying to.
The original arcade version of Turtles in Time has never seen a home console release still.
Mhm.
Which is crazy. Like, what the fuck,
Well,
Konami? What are you doing?
there's the SNES Turtles in Time, but
Yeah, but it's not the
is it?
same game.
It's not.
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
All I know is that you can't play 4-player with Turtles in Time on SNES, even if you have the multi-tap.
yeah.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't have that many friends anyway, so it never really affected me.
I don't either. Let's be honest.
I got something kind of cool. It's not really news, but it's something that I've been playing with. It's have you seen these 8-bit arcade sticks, Jay?
Yeah, you showed me. They look
I've showed you
super
this
dope.
thing.
I need to
It
get
is
one at some
really
point.
cool. And I've been using it a ton with my mister to play retro games with. And I've also been upgrading it, putting different buttons and different joysticks in it. And I kind of did this like Neo Geo layout with it.
Mhm.
And I found actually a company that sells standard sized Sanwa button inserts, just the inside of the button here. But it's concave instead of convex,
Mhm.
which makes it feel like those old school arcade machines that were in America. Because American arcade machines had American parts in them, not Japanese parts for some reason, and they always feel different than Japanese parts. And it's been kind of fun to play some old school arcade games on the Mister with a kind of more authentic feeling stick.
Why is that sound sexual to me?
I
Uh,
hope it does. It feels sexual.
yeah. I know you have like at least one video about that on your YouTube channel, but I
Yeah.
would like to know roughly how much time and money you've put into that stick.
Um. Well, the stick itself costs $80 or $90, and the buttons $2 to $4 depending on which buttons you get per. But I've like what I've done is I've bought a lot of buttons to see what buttons are my favorite buttons, and then I've also kind of actually upgraded the internals of the joystick and done stuff like that. So I probably got another $100 into this but some of that is parts that aren't even in it. Like I just tried them out. So probably $200 around there, all said and done. Time is, I couldn't answer the time because it's like, how much time did I spend looking at the website, like researching this stuff, and how much time did I actually spend with the stick open, and how much time do I spend actually playing on the stick? I have no idea.
I just like to hear you say stick and buttons a lot.
I like touching my stick and buttons.
I'll have to look into getting one of those once I finally get my office kind of more organized.
It works great with the Switch too, and PC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And can you use it with the analog stuff?
Yeah, probably. I haven't tried it though, but you can probably set it up to connect over Bluetooth or 2.4G to one of the receivers that you plug into the front of an analog.
I wonder if they have.
I haven't tried it though.
I wonder if Analog or somebody made like a third party receiver that you can connect any controller to, like, Xbox, PS4. So if it's something like that, you might be able to do it.
Well, they have Bluetooth receivers that plug into Genesis or Super Nintendo or NES style plugs. So I would imagine that this would connect to it. I just haven't tried it. I want to say yes, but I just haven't tried it because I really just use it on my Switch and my Mister. And I have like kind of I do use 8-bit do style wireless pads controllers for the analog stuff as well. But I have one per system, and I just use those. Like I don't really. I've gone the expensive route and just bought one per.
Right.
One thing about 8-bit do stuff is that when you're trying to wirelessly connect and disconnect multiple stuff, I find it's very finicky. That's true with all Bluetooth stuff. It's very finicky. And it's hard to get stuff to sync and unsync and sync and unsync all the time. So I just tend to sync something and just leave it forever, sync to that thing. Like headphones. I have two pairs of headphones on my desk. One pair is synced wirelessly to this little transceiver I have, so I can do like, this is all wireless, right? But I also have a set for just wired because I don't want to unsync and sync and unsync. It's just a pain.
Yeah, wireless is tough because there's a tiny bit of audio delay, like no matter what.
Yeah.
So pretty sure that's it for news, unless you got anything else.
I got nothing. And I'm really excited to talk about Super Mario RPG. So should we just jump into it?
Yeah. Did you get to play much?
I got to play quite a bit, actually. I didn't get the copy in the mail that I've been hoping for. Hopefully that still comes. But I did boot it up on the Mister, and the Mister core got updated recently for the Super Nintendo to include save states and a new graphical mode, which is like it's a 5x screen scale. So like every bit or every pixel is multiplied by 5 times, and then it just kind of cuts the top and the bottom off a little hair. So actually playing on the Mr. Super NES core has been really nice. However, I have been playing on a CRT because this game looks like garbage on a LCD panel. Like
really?
It looks awful. I think this is because it uses those pre-rendered graphics. This is using those silicon. I think they were inspired by the Donkey Kong games on the Super Nintendo game. And they saw how cool those looked, so that when they went to make this game, they used those pre-rendered 3D graphics similar to Donkey Kong games on the Super Nintendo. And all of those games look bad on LCDs to me because the blending of the colors and stuff just doesn't look right. But on a CRT, they look almost magical for the Super Nintendo. So I've been playing on a CRT, and it looks awesome. It looks so good.
I played it on the analog, and I didn't think it looked that bad, but I didn't really compare it because I don't have a CRT to compare it to. So
yeah, well,
it was
not
technically
all of us are blessed with the technology of the radiation outputting technology of the past.
Right. It was technically the first 3D game for Mario, like at all ever. So,
like in the sense that
it was released a few
rendered
months
in 3D.
Right. Well, it was 6 months before Super Mario 64 came out, and it was
Yeah,
the first time that you could play Mario, like, going up, down, left, right, and doing, like, the, 3D dimension kinda space.
yeah, yeah. I guess it is a 3D game because you can move him in a 3D space and jump. So, I mean, it's not the same kind of 3D that you might be thinking of with Super Mario World, not
Right.
World with
64. Yeah.
64. But yeah, I mean, it's an isometric game, which is kind of an interesting look, and it is. It's all pre-rendered graphics, so it doesn't look like any other RP or any other Super Mario game. And there's no other Super Mario game after it that it really looks like this, is there?
Which makes me sad. No, I mean, like, Paper Mario was, uh, kind of it was kind of meant to be. I don't know if it was meant to be a successor. At least I thought at the time, because it's like, okay, it's a Mario RPG, but
Yeah,
it's not the same at all. Like, it's a completely different storyline and
right. This was
different
developed by
characters and everything.
Square,
Right.
right? Or it was developed by Square and Nintendo working together, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Square took the lead development, but Nintendo, isn't just going to let you take Mario and take off with it, right?
Yeah.
Miyamoto's going to show up and say, "I need to check this out." But I mean, it's got a totally different feeling to any other Mario game that I've played, and I was struck when playing it. I didn't get to finish this game yet, but I'm definitely going to finish it because I'm really having a good time with it. I was struck by how funny it is. It's like
Yeah.
very. It reminds me of current Pixar or Pixar from a few years ago, where you could bring your kids there and they're gonna laugh and have a good time, but there's enough adult jokes too that you're gonna laugh and have a good time as well. Like
Mhm.
this game to me it may become my favorite Mario game. I don't know. Like I'm really enjoying it.
There's gonna be certain people hearing those words that are gonna be very happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you obviously have an attachment to this game, but did you play it recently?
I played 6 months ago. I played about 2/3 through it. I haven't finished it in this go round, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've played it multiple times growing up and finished it then. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like when I played it, whatever, however many minutes ago, the humor definitely like strikes you, and it's just silly, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and
Yeah.
just yeah, the characters, even a lot of them, even the bad guys, there's like comedy there with the bad guys and stuff, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. 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 That's a good point. It's like there's this is definitely not a Final Fantasy game, right? There's no like it never feels like there's any true peril to this game. Like, it
Mhm.
looks like it's just like this is a Super Mario adventure, but like done by Square. And it's got some really cool graphics and uh, I don't know, man. It's got a charm to it, I guess what it is. That really it still comes through. I find it very, very, very entertaining. And I was not expecting to because when I look at this game, I'm like, well, those are some dated ass graphics, like. But I took the extra time to hook it up to a CRT, and they still look amazing on a CRT. Like if you have access to a CRT and you can play it on a old school tube television, like it really does make a difference for these graphics. I think more so than most pixel based graphics because of this pre-rendered art style. But you know, I started to get used to the battle system. I was like, this battle system is a little bit annoying because like it's very simplistic, but it requires 100% of your attention because it's a timing based thing. You have to like if you use an attack, you have to select your attack like you would in an RPG game, but then you also have to push the attack button again at the right time to get the correct amount of damage. And the same goes for defense. When you're getting attacked, you have to press a different button. I think it's the B button. My controller doesn't actually say the right buttons. But you have to press your defense button right before an attack lands, otherwise you take too much damage. And early in the game, I found that you could die really easily if you don't do these things because like boss fights will take you out really quick if you don't use defense and your extra attack kind of really well. I was surprised. At first I found that to be annoying, but now like as I kind of play the game, because with so many RPGs, I find them so boring that I just want to like put a Netflix movie on while I'm grinding, you know?
I love turn-based style games. I don't know why. It's just so relaxing.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, the music is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Um, like it's just a really engaging video game. What can I say? I'm shocked. I'm shocked I liked it as much as I do.
I'm not. But the speaking of the soundtrack, it was composed by, I'm gonna butcher this, Yoko Shimomura, who did the Street Fighter 2 soundtrack as well. So,
I didn't know that. The
yeah,
Street Fighter 2 soundtrack is probably my favorite soundtrack for any video game of all time.
there you go. And I don't know, it seems like you're surprised at this gameplay, which makes me think that maybe you've never played through the Mario and Luigi games either.
No, I'm not a Mario person. Even when I was a
So,
kid, I gravitated toward kind of more adult content, you know?
if you liked this game, you should definitely start looking into the Mario and Luigi series for the Game Boy Advance. That to me is probably the closest to this that you're gonna get, even though it's like a completely different story. Um, Mostly different characters, but there's I mean, you're basically Mario and Luigi through the whole game. I don't think you pick up any more characters like you do in RPG, if I remember correctly. But Superstar Saga, and I don't think they're very expensive to get card only, maybe 20-25 bucks. And they have that isometric view. The battle system is very similar. There's the timing based attacks there too. And you pick up new weapons. And I don't know if you pick up new armor and stuff too. I think it's just new weapons and new attack kind of stuff that you can do. But it's turn based and very similar play style to RPG. So for anybody who's ever played Super Mario RPG and you've never picked up the Mario and Luigi games, definitely look into, and Superstar Saga is one of, if not the best, and it's the first one. So definitely start with that one. But there's a bunch like Game Boy Advance. Trying to remember if there's any DS ones. There's definitely 3DS ones. Trying to remember how many there are. There's a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to finishing this game. I wish I got my copy earlier so I could have completed the game, because I was waiting and waiting to get my copy, and I didn't want to play it on the Mister for the show. I wanted to play the actual copy that I had ordered and bought, right? Because
Right.
that's part of it to me. So I was sad, and I was kind of like putting it off. So I'm sad that I wasn't able to finish it for the show, because I got to tell you, like I'm blown away. It, it's a
Yeah.
Mario game for sure, but it's so different than anything else. Like, there's so much
Yep.
personality and whimsy to it. I absolutely love it.
It makes me sad that there's no true successor to it, but yeah, the Mario and
Yeah.
Luigi games are about as close as it can get. So,
So this
and
was
there
a
was
super late release on the Super Nintendo, right? This was right
yeah, it
before
was
the Super or the
6 months before
Ultra
the
64
64.
came out.
Yeah.
So, and that's when the Square Nintendo breakup happened, right? Because Square went to PlayStation with Final Fantasy VII. So that explains why there's never another one.
Yeah. And some of the characters we've never seen again, Gino and Malo, two of some of the most amazing characters in this game as far as personality,
Yeah,
you never see again. And I was looking it up, and again, I'm probably going to butcher this. Masahiro Sakurai,
nailed it.
the creator of Smash Bros, has wanted to put in Gino into a game since Smash Brawl for the Wii,
Yeah,
but they
Nintendo says
can't get
no because Square.
yeah, well, they can't get the licensing or whatever, So he would be a fantastic character in Smash Bros, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real shame. It's a real shame that like this is, I don't know, like Nintendo and Square must have made up by now, right?
I I don't know.
Like Square games come out on Nintendo platforms now again.
Yeah.
It's not like it was during the PlayStation where they just completely. But I don't
Square
know.
created
Nintendo holds grudges. That's
Square yeah. Square created or Square licensed, like Square produced? Because they're like a production company now, right?
yeah. I don't know. I don't actually know. When's the last time a Square game came out for? I mean, I own Square games. I own Final Fantasy 7 and 8 for the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, they have like the Zodiac Age and stuff like that too for Final Fantasy on Switch, so there's gotta be some backstory here that hasn't been talked about. about why they can't bring this game back.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Celix is in chat and he's like celebrating because he like from episode 1 he's been telling us to play this fucking game.
Yeah.
And next time he tells us to play a game, I think we ought to do it faster.
I mean,
man, he was
yeah,
spot on with this one.
I've talked about this before. It's one of, if not my top game like of all time, because of the way that it changed my opinion about RPGs.
Yeah.
Because RPGs before this, it was like Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior, and they were really hardcore. Thinking of my age at the time, I was, I don't know, 10. I wasn't ready for Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior at the time. At least I wasn't personally.
Yeah.
And this game, if it wasn't for this game, I don't know if I ever would have played games like Pokemon or other I've gone back and tried the first Final Fantasy. They're very difficult to go back to, just quality of life stuff, but
Yeah.
um it completely opened my eyes to RPGs that I didn't like before. Like, I used to say I don't like RPGs.
Yeah. I think that's another thing about this game is it moves along at a much faster pace than RPGs move.
Right, it's
Right?
more
It's like
linear.
you're getting story beats constantly. Like you do like there's no random encounters. You can see the enemies on the screen, right? So you do like on your path to between like being introduced to a quest and like getting to like the boss or whatever, like the main completion of the quest usually isn't that long. It's like
Right.
it's pretty rapid. It's like you go on this little journey. There's some like smaller bad guys along the way. Sometimes there's even like a small mini game of some sort, like a minecart ride or barrel jumping or something along the way. And like it just moves at a very rapid pace. So it's not like, and I don't think I've had to grind yet. Like I haven't had to just sit in an area and just like, all right, I gotta grind up a few levels because I'm just not powerful enough to take on this boss. So like it just feels well designed and accessible.
Yeah, the pace is good. It's very kid friendly in that for me, like, for me, it's linear. And you think about games like Final Fantasy or even like Link to the Past, they're very difficult if you've never played them before and you don't have the information. Because you think about Links to the Past, you have to have certain weapons to go to certain places, but you don't even know about those weapons unless you like go to a specific spot or talk to a specific person who may tell you where to go. So you're just like you're searching and hunting and pecking like for hours. Literally, me as an adult playing Link to the Past with no prior experience, hunting for hours trying to figure out how the heck to get through with a Twitch chat helping me out. you know, like I can't imagine as a kid trying to figure all that stuff out. It's just hunting and pecking. And the
Yeah, that's
original
why the
Final
Nintendo
Fantasy,
Hotline existed.
yeah, the original Final Fantasy, I got stuck because I got to a point. I played it as a young adult, like I was like 20, I think, when I tried to pick it up. And if you don't know to talk to certain people, you don't know where to go because it's just this giant map and it's very open world Final Fantasy, and if you don't know exactly what spot to go to get to the next part, you're stuck. And so I got stuck and I didn't know who to talk to, and I had gone to like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different villages, and I was just like, "You know what? I can't. I'm just stuck. I don't know where to go." You
Yeah.
know?
And
So,
it can even be hard with games like that to follow a guide because if you haven't been following the guide the whole time, it's like, well, you might not have been doing the stuff in the same order as the guide goes. So it's like it's hard to figure out where you are on the guide.
yeah.
It's pain.
Super Mario RPG does not have any of those issues.
No, it's just you always know what you're supposed to do. You always know where you're supposed to be going. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. To me, it's the charm of the game that really sells it, though. It's like the writing is so good. I always want to know, like, kind of what's coming up next because, I'm constantly just sitting here chuckling to myself. Like, it's kind of
Mhm.
funny, It's like this is just charming and fun. I've been more open to Mario games over the last year because of the pandemic and because of, frankly, how depressing everything is. Like to me, like. A person who just hasn't really gotten along with Mario games in the past, I've found myself enjoying them more because it's such a refreshing kind of. There's just a lightness that Nintendo brings to their first party games, and even though this was developed by Square, it's still it feels that way. It's just light and it's fun and it's it's just like you're
Right.
on this fun adventure.
Yeah. Did you ever play Paper Mario or any of those games?
No, I've never played any of them.
That's another one. At least the first one. I'm gonna give you, a couple to try. The Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and then the first Paper Mario. Um, I those are experiences that, again, just it's not like RPG, but it's amazing in its own right. It is an RPG, but again, like you said, it's lighthearted and kind of relaxing and linear and fun to play because there's that humor. So Paper Mario is definitely one on the list, and then Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
If you like this game and you're into that, then definitely try those.
Yeah, I'm shocked by how much I like this game. I would have thought it was not something that would have captured my attention when I started playing it. I was like, this is not going to go well. But I'd say within the first couple hours, I was pretty well and totally hooked to it, and just looking for time to sit here and play Mario, which is usually not something I do. I
You and
tend
me
to be
both
more.
need to. Yeah, I was just gonna say you and me should both finish it because I think I stopped however many months ago. Like after the castle, I got into the castle and stuff.
Okay.
So I just gotta finish it.
Oh, so there's still like a third left after you get into the castle?
I imagine so. I mean, it's like a 20 to 30 hour game, depending on how much you do. I think
Okay.
so. However much you've played at this point. There's a bunch of secrets and stuff in there. There's some cameos from Link and Samus. They're both sleeping. And there's also like F-Zero and Star Fox, like little collectible ships on one of the shelves and stuff. It's super
Oh,
fun.
really?
Yeah. And there are some secrets and stuff that I don't even really know about. There's an extra boss. I don't know whether I imagine Culex, Culex, that has tie-ins to Final Fantasy. It's not like a character that you ever see again in any game ever, but he makes jokes about the third dimension and may return, and he never does, at least in the Japanese version. He makes jokes about that. There's Boshi. Have you met Boshi yet? Boshi,
No,
the
I don't think
cool
so.
the cool Yoshi with the sunglasses. You haven't gotten there
No,
yet?
that
All right.
sounds awesome though.
Uh, it's Washi in Japan or Woshi in Japan, and it's supposed to be kind of the Wario slash Waluigi for Yoshi.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. And you don't really ever see him anywhere else.
Well, you'd never see Wario or Waluigi anymore. Like, they seem to be abandoned characters from
Aren't they? Well,
Nintendo.
they're in Smash, aren't they?
Are they? I don't play Smash.
I
I'm
don't
an
know.
adult.
I might be talking on my ass here. I don't know. Actually, no, they are. I know Wario is because he's got an amiibo.
I think
Pretty sure he has a Smash.
they'll be in Mario Golf for sure this summer, right?
Man,
'Cause
I'm
they've been
excited
in
for Mario
every
Golf.
Mario Golf before. Yeah, me too.
It's a fun
I've,
game.
I've spent untold amounts of money getting my N64 looking as good as I can just because I love Mario Golf so much.
Yeah. What would you have thought about in this game if they used weapons and magic for Mario instead of the jump and hammer?
That doesn't seem to fit with the world as much, I would say. I think
That's
getting the hammer from the Hammer Brothers right at the beginning, I think is kind of because everybody fucking hates the Hammer Brothers, right? So it's somehow very nice to take them down right at the beginning and then use their weapon.
yeah. But they creators were actually originally touring with the idea of using like weapons and magic. Which can you imagine? I mean, Mario probably would be using Fireball.
Yeah. Well, he does have a fireball. He uses
Does he?
fireball. Yeah. Like he does have magic.
I believe you.
The fireball, it's a spell. Like if you select it and then if you use it, you have to hit the magic button as fast as you can to shoot the fireballs as fast as you can.
Oh, right. Now I remember. Yeah. I think I mostly used the hammer because I got like a really good hammer
Yeah.
really early on, and it was just destroying everything for me.
Yeah.
Or it was boots or something. Yeah.
Boots are made for hammering.
Something I thought was pretty silly. There's a hidden item in Princess Toadstool's room that's titled like Toadstool's ?
Yeah.
But apparently in the Japanese version of the game, it was called Peach's Triple X,
Oh.
and it's like behind a curtain. And if you grab it, one of the character comes out and like shoos you away. Like Peach comes out and is like, "Stop! No, don't look at that." It's like, whoa,
What's going on there?
yeah. And then also, if you look at that image in the notes, Bowser had a victory pose in the Japanese game that was changed in the US because it looked like the up yours. He's like
Oh
doing the up
yeah,
yours.
I've seen that. Oh yeah, that should be the. I don't think that'll make good art, will it? I was thinking it'd make a good. I don't know. I'm gonna save it anyway. Be a good thumbnail for the episode.
Game actually
That
didn't
does.
get a
It
release.
really does. It looks like he's doing the whole like thing around the elbow and wrapping it up.
Pretty fun. So I think what he ended up going with the kind of the X-Men, the like whatever cross. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this game, since it came out 6 months before the N64, it didn't even actually have a European release, which I thought was kind of funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because they would have had to convert it to PAL.
Yep.
God, no wonder those Europeans are all messed up. They're staring at 50 hertz for so long, it just screwed with their
25
heads.
frames.
Poor bastards.
I would argue that they're more enlightened than us, probably because they've had to deal with that stuff
More enlightened?
than the general American.
Yeah. I don't know. We're just used to smooth frame rates. We're spoiled by it.
Yeah. I think that's all the notes.
I don't know. This game is. If you've never played this game, do yourself a favor. It like as not a Mario fan, like I was surprised by how much I like this game. Like, and I'm not really that big an RPG fan, to be honest with you. It's usually just because of how long they take, you know, and how much time. Like I was saying before, like so often when I'm playing an RPG, I'll just kind of put a Netflix movie on and be like watching the movie and just hitting the attack button when I get to random battles. Right. But this game is pretty engaging with the music. Kind of, it's so enjoyable. You really want to listen to. Mario doesn't talk, but he does these kind of funny. I don't know. He'll emote a little bit and he'll like actually like turn into other characters to like tell a story to another character of what just happened. It's all very entertaining. Yeah. It's very good. It's just I'm glad I'm glad that we played it this time. This is the first game that like I really am that I'm just like so surprised. I'm so happy that we played it for this episode because I feel like you know, it's definitely something I missed out on, and I'm glad we got around to it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this show. Like it's just bringing back things that I never got to try as a kid too.
Yeah, yeah.
We were talking earlier about the availability of digital games and stuff. You can, if you own a Wii U and you bought this on the Wii U Virtual Shop, you can play it. Or if you have the SNES Mini.
Oh, is it on the Super Nintendo Mini?
It is. And
do they still sell
those
that?
are the. What's up?
Do they still sell that? The Super Nintendo Mini?
I mean, you can pick them up secondhand. I don't know if they're still manufacturing them. The last I looked, they were going for like 150 or something. But the problem with it is that there's some input delay. But with this game, yeah. Except for the battle like button press thing.
Yeah, but it's not that hard to time, and as long as it's consistent, you're gonna get used to it anyway.
Right.
It'd be nice if this was on the Switch, like if they added it to the Super Nintendo games on the Switch. I'm surprised it's not. Like, why? What the heck?
There's, like we said, there has to be some kind of thing going on
between with Square.
There's gotta be something. Right.
That's a bummer. I think the best way to play it then is to get yourself a Mister.
Hook it up to a
CRT. Hook it up to an old school tube television. Because I gotta tell you, man, this game looks so much better on a tube TV. I should post pictures of it, of the difference on. It's really hard to photograph tube TVs, so maybe I'll take a picture and see how it comes out. But man, it's a world of difference. The colors just blend together. It doesn't look like kind of old pixel art. It looks like really nice 3D art. You know, it's really it's a stunning difference.
Yeah.
So
So
we do some pickups.
absolutely. Did you get any?
No.
I was just gonna.
I was at the
Yeah.
store and I was looking at a copy of Revenge of Shinobi. Wait, no, Shadow Dancer, because I don't have it. But they were asking like $80 for it, and I went on like one of the websites that price tracks the games, and it was like 45 or 50. I was like, ah, man, I really want this game, and I'd much prefer to buy it from a local shop than on eBay. But this is a little too much for me to stomach.
Yeah.
So I didn't buy it.
If it was pristine, maybe 60 to 70, but yeah.
It was not.
I was going to comment about the tube TV thing. Like, one of my wishes is to have, a house big enough with a room that we can convert into like a game room kind of situation and have a tube TV and all that. But in order to afford that, I'd have to probably sell off my game collection. So then what would be the point of having
I see the dilemma here. This is sad.
So it's like, do you
they
keep
make
the
small
games
tube TVs. I have a 20-inch that is a really nice size.
20-inch?
It's not.
But do you have like a
square.
32 as well? Yeah.
No, 32 is fuck that. Do you know how much that weighs? It's got to be 200 pounds easy. Yeah. I have a 27-inch that. So TVs, because they are square, they sound smaller than they actually are when you're talking about CRT. So a 27-inch CRT is like the same. It feels like it's about the same as like a 40-inch TV because you're not measuring such a long distance. You're just measuring from here to here as opposed to from here to here.
I try to tell my wife that too. Yeah.
Look, we play our games.
Honey, it's bigger than it looks, I promise.
It's all about how you measure it. But yeah, 27 inches is a huge ass TV. 20 inches feels like a nice TV. A 20-inch TV, to be honest with you, it's too big to fit on my desk. Like, so.
Because of the depth of it, probably?
The width of it, the depth of it. It's bigger than you think it is. Like, because you're used to seeing like a 24-inch like LCD monitor on your desk. But like take a measuring tape and pull out 20 inches and then adjust it like upward more, and you'll see how big it actually is. Plus, it is deep. It's probably as deep as it is wide. And then there's also like speakers on the side and plastic on the top and bottom. So they are big.
Yeah.
You've got to measure from the base, not from the...
You got to push it in a little bit. Yeah. There's some extra fat there. It's fine. That's extra space.
So what'd you pick up, Jay?
All right. We'll leave the best stuff for last as usual. So I went there, and again, this is one of those scenarios where they updated their game list and a bunch of stuff that I had already, like in bins that I had picked up from eBay, and I've like already become completely even with my buying and selling. So anything that I had, I was like, oh, they're giving this much credit. And some other stuff, I was like, let's see how much they'll give me. And I take this whole big bin of stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it's about $800 worth of stuff total if they give me like what it should be worth. And I take it in there, and they take everything, and they come back and they offer me like, I don't know, $1,100 or something credit for games that I was like, oh yeah, if I get like 7-ish, 800, I'll probably take it. And they offer me like 1,100. I'm like,
what's going on here?
Yeah. So I was normally I do like half and half cash, half and half in credit, but I was like, I got an extra. It was a argument of, okay, I get 15 cash or 25 credit plus 10% extra credit because I'm a tier 4 plus 10% off all used games at their store because I'm a tier 4. So like essentially that turns into $30 credit for a game I spent 10 on, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't say no to that. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll just take credit on pretty much everything. And so I have some pretty holy grail type pickups here.
Okay. Yeah. So you
Um,
had this credit. Yeah. Okay. I get the setup now.
yeah, so
This
I
is where
just
we're
wanted to
going.
say because they're expensive games. They're
We're pulling out the
expensive. Like
big dogs this week.
some of these are expensive games.
All
We'll
right.
start with the not very expensive ones. So they had a bunch of complete in box stuff they usually do, or at least box in game. And I didn't have Gradius for
Oh,
the
that's
NES like
classic.
at all. It's got the hang tab, even though it's kind of ripped,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have the manual, but I can find that. I mean, they were asking 40 for this plus 10% off, and so yeah, it's like,
That's awesome. Put that back up on the screen. I love that
yep,
Konami, those Konami box arts
oh
for the
yeah,
NES. Like
the
I
gray
just
box.
love them. Yeah, those are cool. My Life in Gaming did an interview with the guy who drew the art, who did the art with those early Konami games, which is kind of a fun interview.
That's awesome. It looks very Star Wars esque.
Oh yeah,
That giant ship.
yeah, that is cool
It
art.
almost looks like a Death Star in the back or
Yeah,
something. It's like a planet.
they're making another Last Starfighter. Did you hear that? They're making a sequel to the Last Starfighter or a remake
The
or a
movie?
reboot. Yeah,
Man, hopefully it doesn't suck.
I mean the first one kind of did, so why wouldn't the second one?
I mean, the first one was campy, but as a
Yeah,
video game nerd, you ate it up like a
oh,
bowl
I
of
loved it when I was a
cinnamon toast
kid.
crunch. Yeah.
It's not a great movie, but I loved it
Well,
when I was a kid.
it's like The Wizard, it's basically a glorified advertisement for the Power Glove, but it was an
Yeah.
amazing movie as a kid because video games.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of shoot 'em ups, UN Squadron, which
Ah,
is an
yes.
amazing SNES shoot 'em up. It doesn't have the manual. Again, I can pick it up, but I think they were asking, yeah, $55, which with a box that's in pristine shape,
Yeah,
like
that
the
looks like
box
it's
is in
real good shape.
fantastic shape. So, I mean, boxes are always going to be the most rare and valuable thing you can get for a game for
Yeah.
anybody who's collecting. And manuals are easy to come by relatively, carts are relatively easy to come by, but boxes are hard to. So, anytime I can find a box in really good shape for a game that I have or want, I mean, I usually
Doesn't
pick it
that
up.
game have other names depending on the platform it's on? Or am I
Maybe
making stuff up? Or am I just getting confused? It's such a good game. It's so
it's
weird too. Like you think it's one thing, you think it's just gonna be a straightforward kind of military thing. It's so good.
yeah. I actually haven't played it, but
Oh, well,
I've heard so many good things about it. I've owned a cart of this for a long time, but it's just one of those games that I want to play eventually, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, I could have sworn like it came out on like the Neo Geo or something as well, and it came
With a
out, but
different
it had a
name.
different name. I don't know exactly. I know there's a history to it.
Whoever knows that information, comment on the YouTube video or send us an ad on Twitter and let us know.
It was released in Japan as Area 88. I'm on their Wikipedia page. Keep going. I'll see if I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find it.
A couple of card only games before we get into some of the really good stuff. We talked about this on the Capcom episode, Mega Man
Oh.
Soccer. I mean,
Cool.
it's not pristine, but I've wanted in my collection for a long, long time. I've never played it.
Yeah.
I've not heard great things, but
No?
it's one of those kind of meme games that are just kind of fun to have.
Yeah.
So now I own that. Another one that is a fantastic game. I don't know how it is for Game Boy, but I got Felix the Cat for Game Boy. Yes, it was marked for $89.
Whoa.
Yeah. I have I've had the NES game in my collection for a long time, complete in box, and I think I spent like $40 for it, and now it's going for like 150. So it's spiked up a lot too. These are Felix the Cat's a fantastic 2D platforming game, kind of like a platforming adventure game. So got those. And then we were talking about, the first edition, second edition NES black box games at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Now, I only had maybe 2 games that had stickers on them in my collection period before this, and they were Canadian versions of the game. So they weren't even like American stickered versions because they're so hard and rare to come by. And for some reason, my local retro game store, I'm always on the lookout for these. they have an NES like box game section. They always have like a bunch of cheap black box games that are not in great condition. And I just happened to spot one of them with a sticker, and I was like, "What?" And so then I start looking at the other ones, and I notice there's more than one, and they're not marked in a way that you would have expected a first or second edition game to go as far as price.
Oh, do they not know what
They
they have?
Yeah, they marked them just as like normal games.
Hmm.
So if you buy these in this condition in any other kind of release, like 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever, they're, whatever. But a first or second release of these specifically are going to fetch a premium. So tennis,
Mm.
not in good condition. The hang tabs all ripped up, like it's just not in good shape. But it's a glossy sticker, which means that it is a second release. So shortly after the New York, um, so matte sticker means that it would be New York only test market release. Um, I don't know how many they made of the second release of these games, but the first ones only had like between 2 and 10K made ever of the first release. So
Wow.
tennis, they had this marked at $25,
Oh, wow.
and I got
How much do you
10%
think
off of
it's
that.
worth?
It's 150 easy.
Oh, nice. That game
Um,
sucks. I hate that
yeah,
game.
no, I just the stickers.
It's hilarious that they
Another
just called it tennis too. It's like it's not like
right,
Super
well, it's
Mario Tennis or tennis, Nintendo Tennis,
elbow.
just fucking tennis.
It's like, well, it's going back to like Atari games and in television games when it was just
Yeah,
the sport name,
that wasn't
rowing
something
and
you wanted to
volleyball and
recall, to be honest.
yeah. Another glossy sticker,
Yeah.
golf. Again, not in good shape. Hang tab, and you'll see a theme here. Somebody ripped the hang tabs off. Like the sticker survived
Mm.
incompletion. Like the sticker is still in. Like for those who don't know, again, the first and second release of these games, there was no cellophane wrapping on these. The seal was the sticker. So it was just the box, and then it had either a glossy or a matte sticker. So they marked this with no manual for $19 with the sticker. Like all the other ones, they had like 3 of them. They were all marked around the same price. But the sticker again, it's probably worth 5 to 10 times that because of
Wow.
the rarity in the sticker and stuff.
That's
Uh,
supposed to be Mario too, golfing.
are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He looks pretty unhappy.
Well, he's golfing.
You're gonna get some angry people. All right. Next one is a first release copy
Okay.
of Gyromite.
Oh, interesting.
Again, same owner ripping these hang tabs off. What were they thinking?
Yeah.
But first release, I don't know. You probably won't be able to see it. There's a tiny bit of matte sticker there.
Oh, okay.
Tiniest little bit. That's how I knew that it was a first release. So again, only 2 to 10K ever made of the first release in New York. And if you don't know
Of
the story about
Gyromite.
the NES stuff, there was lots of documentaries about it, basically telling the story about how Nintendo was trying to get back in the market of video games, and none of the retail stores wanted anything to do with them. So they did a test market release in New York only, and that's where this game came from. So
I've
super
never
rare.
played any of the Rob the Robot games. I should get a
I
Rob
haven't
the
either.
Robot.
You can play it without Rob.
No, but I want Rob. I need my robot friend to play with me.
You should. There's a video I need to send you. It takes so long for Rob to make decisions
Yeah.
because it's like it has to spin the thing, and then it's got the spinning things, and then it goes like zzz, zzz,
You just sound like a Rob hater.
Z.
Such a,
Like,
you're a robot. You're an anti-robot.
no, I want to own one, but it's not.
How much does a
Not.
Rob the Robot go for?
Robot only, like 150, I think ish.
Oh shit, that's kind of more than I was hoping for.
I mean, if you get a crappy condition one, you can probably get it for cheaper than that. But I'd like to get a deluxe set complete in box in good shape, but those go for 600 plus
Oh god. Yeah,
typically.
you can get
For
one for like $100.
yeah,
But you're right, it
my,
gets pretty expensive pretty quick if you want all of the parts and stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. There's like the
here's 2 of
gyros.
them. It
And
comes with an Advantage, 4 controllers, and Gyromite for $500.
Jesus.
And Ghost and Goblins.
Oh no,
And a Zapper.
I've got them on a track. All right, and the last boxed, I have more games, but the last boxed first edition copy of Duck Hunt with
Look
the
at
matte
that.
sticker. This one you can see the matte sticker a little bit better.
Yeah.
Again, same owner, ripping the
Ripped off
hang
the
tabs off.
tab.
Ugh, so unhappy about it, but $69, nice. But this
Nice.
one, this game, I looked on eBay in good condition without if this didn't have the ripped hang tab, it'd probably go for 1,500 to 2 grand.
Wow.
So I am imagining that this one with the ripped hang tab, probably 400 to 600. Like, because it's so absolute. I don't plan on selling it, but because I just want to have that piece of history. You
Yeah.
know, it's so fun to me to have those sticker games. Anytime I see a sticker game for a decent price, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how it works. All right. Now the Holy Grails. I got 3 more to go
Oh,
through.
these aren't the Holy Grails?
No.
Oh shit.
I mean, technically they are, but the value of them is more obscure on them because there's not very many of them, the
Yeah.
box games. These ones have a market for them. Chippendale's Rescue Rangers 2.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah.
That looks like it's in good
Chippendale.
shape too.
Yeah, it is. All these are in pretty good shape that I picked up. I'm not going to pick up a Holy Grail in crappy condition because I just
Sure.
don't want to
Yeah.
do it. But the price on this guy,
300.
again, I got 10% off plus the
Yeah.
trade-in credit and all that stuff. So, I mean, I probably paid maybe a third of that price, maybe not even, based on all the other stuff. So that's Holy Grail number 1 that I wanted to add in my collection. Holy Grail number 2 is a very obscure game, Cowboy Kid, that I've never played or seen much about.
I've never heard of that.
What is it? I'm pretty sure it's a top 15 or top 10 game for NES.
That box art is horrific.
It's a little, yeah, it's a little suspect too.
Cowboy Kid. That was more
319.
expensive than Rescue Rangers. That's sad.
Yep.
That's what I don't get
319
about
bucks.
collecting. Like, the Cowboy Kid is more expensive than Rescue Rangers too.
Super obscure game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I don't know if you've heard of this one. They said that this is actually a really, really good game. Zombie Nation.
Oh, I've never heard of that one either.
It's a shoot 'em up kind of game,
Really?
apparently.
Like a side-scrolling shmup?
I think it might be like top down. I need to look.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
the price on that one.
Wow. That's a lot. $400.
Yeah.
Zombie Nation.
So again, lots of trade-in credit, lots of deals from my local retro store who treats me very well
That's
with
nice.
trade-ins most of the time. So I've been very happy. And they like their cash offers. They have cash offers on they have like a website and they have games, their most wanted games, and they have like all the systems and stuff. They're giving like $110 cash for Pokemon Emerald. They're giving like $150 cash for Heart Gold just with the plastic case.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. That's cash, which means that credit would probably be closer to 200 for me if I took a game in like that.
Wow.
So
Do you
it's
ever go
insane.
like to like flea markets or tag sales or anything like that looking for games?
I want to, but one, I don't really have any. I wouldn't want to go by myself, and I don't really have anybody here else that would be interested in that. And two, it takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time.
eBay is way faster because you could spend an entire afternoon going to a flea market or something and not find a single thing. But if
Yeah.
I spent an entire afternoon on eBay, I'd find a handful of things for sure.
Okay.
So it's really tough. But yeah, so those are my pickups from the last month.
Those are some heavy hitters this week, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
Cowboy
haven't
Kid.
Yeah. I haven't bought like anything on eBay in 6 months or so, but I just have stuff like, either things that I have listed on Amazon that haven't sold or things that I haven't tested or whatever. I have like a couple of boxes of games that I've bought in the last few years and they've shot up and I'm just like, all right, well, we're trading them in now,
Wow.
Yep.
That's
Crazy.
bizarre. It's bizarre how fast it's all shot up. But it also kind of makes sense, I guess. People have more money and more time on their hands. Or some people have more money.
Yeah, some people.
Some people. Well, should we wrap this one up?
What? Yeah. What game do we want to do next time?
Oh, that's a good question. What game should we do, chat? What game should we do next time? What, you got anything in mind? I'm tempted to do another Turtles game, but we already did a Turtles game.
Do we want to do a handheld game?
We could do a handheld game.
Have we done? We did the Pokemon games.
Yeah, that's right. We did it with
Do we want to do a more mainstream kind of series or a more obscure?
I don't know, man.
I feel like
I haven't put any thought into it, to be honest with you. Everything's on the table. Everything's on the table. UN Squadron would be good. Chat's saying UN Squadron. That'd be kind of fun to do. You just got a copy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
I'm not going to get a copy, apparently. How much was it again?
I have an extra copy now.
Oh.
Part only. So.
Yeah, that'd be a kind of fun one. Like, that's a game that I've played the first couple of levels on, but I've never actually put any time into it. So it'd be kind of fun to do that one. You get it? You want to do that? You don't seem enthusiastic about it.
Well, my brain goes.
No, fine, whatever. You don't want to do it.
No, I do want to do it, but my content creator brain sits in the background like, you're not going to get many clicks on YouTube with that kind of game title. La 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 la. Like, it's just, I don't know. My brain works.
All right, we'll do UN Squadron, but we'll say we're doing Mario 3.
We haven't done the first Mario
yet. We have to do some of the obscure stuff.
Yeah,
at some point, right? Like, we can't just only do the hits. And everybody's already played all the hits. It's fun to play some of the obscure stuff.
Yeah,
we just played a big Mario game too.
UN Squadron, let's get excited.
All right, UN Squadron, let's get excited. Play it with us. In 2 weeks, we'll be back. We'll talk about it for an extended period of time, I'm sure. I hope that we all really like it. I hope this is going to be a really good one. Everybody, like, this game reviewed really well back in the day.
Yeah.
And it's got some really interesting stuff. It's a shmup, but it's got some really interesting, like, RPG-ish aspects to it. As well, it's kind of like an anime-inspired story, too, I believe.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't know much about it, so I'm going to be learning a lot in the next 2 weeks, I'm sure.
All right, UN Squadron's Mario. UN Super Squadron Mario coming up. All right, that'll be fun. Jay, where can people find you?
You can find me Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at JSniperton. Also, please follow the Retroslot podcast Twitter at the Retroslot.
That's right.
And we also have an Instagram, but I haven't been posting on there as much, even though I should. And I stream late at night. Been playing some Outriders and Destiny. And yeah, late at night. How about you, Mr. Briar?
You can find me on Twitter or just look up Briar Rabbit on basically any platform and you'll find me. I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter 5 lately, which is kind of random, but I'm like super addicted to it. So I'm looking forward to Street Fighter 6 coming out next year. Apparently that's the thing. But yeah, you can find me on all the random places. Just look for Briar Rabbit. Also, check out the SideQuest podcast if you like this one. We have plenty more podcasts. SideQuest podcast is a more general gaming podcast, more modern stuff. I bet you like that one too. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.